what's interesting is I saw yesterday was actually a year to the day since the Jimmy Carr interview.
Oh
And I
yeah.
don't want to attach, I know it must be annoying for you because sometimes I'm sure people just talk about that and you're like, I've done all these other things as well. But that was quite a big moment
Paul,
for you.
who's producing this, will be like, nah, David talks about it himself all the time.
I mean, why wouldn't you? But that was like a year ago yesterday, which was a huge moment in your show and stuff. And it was like a big thing. So do you quickly sort of tell us about how that came about? Because you guessed his email, didn't you? That's how you got him on the show.
Oh man, I'm such a fan of Jimmy Carr. Very sentimental moment in time for me. It's not because he was like Jimmy Carr and a celebrity. It was because of his like effect on me. I remember sitting during the pandemic, just after losing my mum, with my sister, watching 8 out of 10 Cats highlights, pissing ourselves at Jimmy, watching Comedy Central Roast Battle, just howling at him. And then he started appearing on podcasts, and I realized he was such a deep thinker. And I read his book Before and Laughter, and it was such an amazing self-help book because it was delivered again through his origin story, through his tone of voice. It sweetened the pill because it was him sharing it with me, someone I looked up to. And he became one of these Mount Rushmore dream guests for me. And I have it written down, like top 3 dream guests. Jimmy Carr was up there. And I just took a swing. I thought, how am I going to make this happen? I could find his agent, or I could try and see how many degrees of separation I was from him, try and get someone to vouch for me that would vouch to me for someone else, to someone else. And I thought, what's the most dumbest way I could get in contact with him? Probably by guessing his email address. And I did. I sent one email that evening. And I didn't just send an email like, hey, Jimmy, come on my podcast. It was deliberate. Like the whole email was so deliberately crafted to get his attention, to relate, and then to showcase the ROI for him. And it was around the idea of origin stories, how much I related to because he was a maverick. He was a Cambridge alumni, marketing exec at Shell, earning a great wage, and realized that it wasn't for him, and renounced it and became a full-time stand-up comedian who gigged 300 nights a year until he broke free. He gave himself a year to do it, and he did it in like day 301. So I relayed a lot to him. I demonstrated that back to him. I showcased some really nuanced guests that I had on the show that I knew he liked. Rory Sutherland was one of them. So the title of the email was Rory Sutherland Spoke About You. Let's speak about him. And just all of these like weird, thoughtful components in this email garnered his attention. He said, yep, I'm not sure when I'm next in Scotland. When are you next in London? I replied, Jimmy, I'll be in London whenever you need me in London. And he said, right, let's do it. He passed me on to his agent, picked a few dates when he was back in London, because many people know he's actually on the road, maybe 300 to 320 nights a year. So in the same week that we recorded in London, he was in like Paris, South Africa, Bucharest, like all around. And he was back in London for like 24 hours, whereby he did me, The Diary of the CEO, and Trigonometry all on the same day, and then flew back out that evening to Las Vegas to start his US tour. I think he was having dinner with Adele that night. Mental. But yeah, that's how it came around. I just guessed his email.
And you got to date your sister, which is pretty special as well.
Yeah, full circle. She played T-Boy that day. I remember. Actually, funny story. To kind of humanize this. I want to talk about this in a way that makes it very humble and real, and not like I'm friends with Jimmy Carr or like I interviewed Jimmy Carr. Like, he did me a favor. He obviously saw a bit of himself in me and wanted to help, because I had like a few thousand followers at the time. I had like 2,000 followers on Instagram, and he was doing Diary of the CEO that has millions the same day. He didn't need to do it. Like he did it strategically to help me, and he rocked up. I mean, I was struggling to find a studio to do it in London. Like I don't have a Diary of the CEO budget. London is so expensive. There's a place called Dream Factory, I think it was called, that was charging me like $2,000 to do a studio episode with him. And I found a comedy club called 21 Soho. Shout out 21 Soho. It was the first place I ever watched stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow. So it's full circle as well.
So full circle. And he rocked up there by himself. No security, no nothing. I think he got the tube. And like he rocked up, and during the day, the comedy club itself is used as a co-working space, either for the employees or for other people. And he went over to the kind of coffee bar area and said, this place is for sale, isn't it? You'll be out of a job next week. And the barista didn't even like know this place was in liquidation. And he basically announced to the guy, like, oh, I might buy this. Can I have a tour?
Whoa.
In central London. So he took a tour of the co-working space. And as we entered it, every co-worker looked round and were like, "Oh my god!"
Jimmy Carr.
and like
Yeah.
opened their mouth, and I went, "Sorry, Jimmy, this happens everywhere I go." And he just burst out laughing, and it was like such a sincere moment because he knew I was
Yeah.
joking.
Probably also likes just be acting normal in that as well.
Yeah, he was great. And then my
Mm.
sister, my sister got my coffee, and we had sat down at the table doing some small chat before
Mm.
we were recording. He was like making fun of the studio actually because it was so small, and there was a weird door that was locked up, and he was like, "Oh, is that where you keep the gimp and stuff like that?" And my sister was walking down the stair, and this is such a big moment for her. Like she's never seen me do a podcast before. She's in there with someone that she admires, and she was shaking
Oh,
the
boy.
coffee, and I could see it spilling onto the saucer. And by the time it got to Jimmy, there was like half a coffee left. But it was
Wow.
great, and he slagged her on the podcast as well, called her out, and it was great, man. Like,
And that's how I heard of you as well. It was like I remember. I think I listened to that episode he did the same day in the Diary of CEO. I think I listened to that. I remember being in my grand's kitchen. Tested what I was like. I want to listen to what Jimmy Carr podcast. Typed in Jimmy Carr, came up, and I was like, David's from Glasgow. Because there's not that many Scottish podcasts really in the space that I'm in. There is obviously a few, but I thought, so I just thought it was interesting just to hear another Scottish person doing something, and that's how I also discovered your show. And then now we're here like a year later. So it's mad how all these things have a, cause and effect and stuff.